Following the smash hit Skyfall, Daniel Craig is back for his fourth outing as 007. I'm Jan and this is 25 things you probably didn't know about Spectre. Spectre is the first time Aston Martin has built a car specifically for a Bond movie. The previous Aston Martins that have appeared in the franchise were all available for public purchase. The car Aston Martin built for Spectre is the DB10, which is a concept car with a chassis based on a modified V8 Vantage and a top speed of 190 miles per hour. A total of 10 were built, 8 of which were used for filming, while the other 2 were used for promotion. As for the Jaguar CX-75 chasing Bond in Rome, the car was so powerful that the stunt team had to tone down its engine so the throttle response was less aggressive. It took 18 nights to film the car chase through the streets of Rome, which involved shutting down key parts of the city while stunt performers drove up to 100 miles per hour. Although the chase involves only 2 cars on screen, the filmmakers actually used 8 Aston Martins and 7 Jaguars to shoot the scene. The filmmakers also shot for 4 days at Rome's Museum of Roman Civilization, which doubled as a cemetery. The Spectre meeting in Rome was actually filmed at Pinewood Studios on a set inspired by the Royal Palace of Caserta, north of Naples. And Oxfordshire's Blenheim Palace doubled for the exterior of the building where that meeting takes place. The centerpiece of the movie's Day of the Dead parade is the Calavera Catrina skeleton, which has a 10-meter wide hat and was inspired by an etching by Mexican illustrator Jose Guadalupe Posada. It took 107 makeup artists 3.5 hours each day to get over 1,500 extras ready for filming. 75 costumers designed 1,500 different outfits, including 6 paper dresses, which took 3 weeks each to make, and a team of 20 people were needed to clean and repair costumes overnight for the next day's shoot. Filming took place in 3 locations in Mexico City: the Grand Hotel, the Plaza Tulsa, and the city's main square, the Zocalo, where Red Bull aerobatic pilot Chuck Aaron performed a helicopter stunt flying only 30 feet above the movie's extras. The toughest challenge of filming in Austria was the lack of ice and snow due to the unseasonal weather, which delayed preparations. In fact, to cover the hillside, the production had to make 400 tons of fake snow. The exterior of the Hoffler Clinic was filmed at the Ice Queue, a restaurant at the top of a 3,000-meter mountain in Solden, Austria. However, scenes inside the clinic were filmed on a set built at Pinewood Studios. The Austrian action sequence featuring an aeroplane and Range Rovers was especially complex. While only 1 airplane is seen on screen, in reality special effects supervisor Chris Corbould needed 8 different planes to pull off the stunt. 2 of the planes could fly, another 2 were fitted to a wire rig, and 4 others were just carcasses with skidoos inside them, which the stunt team used to control the planes. For this particular action scene, the crew also built 10 sheds and a barn. 8 of the sheds were bought in the local mountains and rebuilt on set, while the remaining sheds and barn were built from scratch using 20 miles of reclaimed wood. The toughest location for Spectre's filmmakers was Morocco. As well as filming in the cities of Tangier and Whishaw, Spectre also shot outside Erfoud in the Sahara Desert, which meant that the movie's locations department had to drive out to let everyone within a 20-mile radius know there was going to be loud explosions during filming. On the first day of the shoot in Erfoud, a big sandstorm with winds up to 50 miles an hour meant there was no visibility, so the filmmakers had to halt production for the whole afternoon. As for the temperature during filming, the average in Erfoud was over 110 degrees Fahrenheit, and on the hottest day it was 122 degrees. And as if it wasn't already hot enough in the desert, the movie's special effects team used more than 2,100 gallons of kerosene to create what special effects supervisor Chris Corbould, who's worked on 14 Bond movies, says is the biggest explosion of his career. According to producer Barbara Broccoli and production designer Dennis Gassner, one of the most difficult sets to get right was Bond's London apartment, because everyone has their own idea of the kind of place 007 would live. And because it says so much about Bond's character, Daniel Craig was especially involved in the design of that set. The scheduling of the high-speed boat chase was particularly complicated because of all the events in London at the time, including the general election and the Trooping the Colour. The scene involved 6 night shoots and low-flying helicopters. helicopters, which meant the filmmakers had to send 11,000 letters to notify residents and businesses in the area. But the biggest challenge was lighting the River Thames, which involved lighting 17 arches on 3 different bridges, as well as 10 rooftops along the banks of the river. The filmmakers also worked with the House of Commons, County Hall and the London Eye to either change the colour of their lights or to make sure they had their lights on or off as needed. And each nighttime shoot involved a location team of nearly 200 people from security to traffic management. Now let me know in the comments below which actor you think is the best Bond and why, and who would you like to be the next Bond after Daniel Craig. If you enjoyed this video, do please share it, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe for loads more things you didn't know, as well as movie reviews and interviews. Thanks for watching and see you next time, yippee-ki-yay movie lovers!